Welcome to Chapter 12, Hospitality Design, Human Factors. Here are our objectives. We're going to look at proxemics in a little bit different way. We're going to talk about interaction space and territoriality and maybe even some crowding issues related to food service locations. And I want you to know some specific dimensions that constitute good circulation in these areas. Would like you to know the difference between accessible and inclusive guest room. And of course, we're always going to apply our diversity filters and our ergonomic filters and the knowledge that we've learned regarding human factors. Here are some of the spaces covered in hospitality design, all the way from really large convention centers to small boutique hotels. And then on the food and beverage side, everything from a small coffee house all the way up to large and prestigious restaurants. In all of these, we have a front of the house area and the back of the house area. The back of the house area being the operational space that the staff uses to do their jobs. When we look at a hotel lobby, we can see that there's a lot of different functions going on. Everything from food service, a bar, office space, the registration desk, the restrooms, the retail store. And a lot of times people are gathering in these spaces just to do some people watching. It's literally the hub of the activity. All the activities spring from this center. Here's a more modern hotel lobby, something that you might find like at a Hampton Inn. And we'll have everything from the reception desk, but we'll also have the bar and the open space, the restaurant, the dining. The functions of the space change throughout the day. A very modern approach. Our hotel lobby is our first impression, and we see a lot of changes happening at the registration desk, including ways that the service staff can come out from behind the desk and work one-on-one with their patrons. We can also see, in the one on the right-hand side, that the varying heights have been incorporated in a very aesthetic kind of way. So no longer are we just setting aside one little 3-foot area for an ADA compliant space, but we are embracing this as far as the design is concerned. Our hotel lobby is our atmosphere. It can show us everything from traditional to contemporary, and it sets the tone for the client's experience throughout the rest of the space. At the Hilton Garden Inn, it sets itself apart through design. And even though they use different colors and different tonalities regarding their spaces in different geographic areas, they've got a very similar palette, and they use branding or interior design elements to help create their brand. In the corridors, we can have some very modern things, but we can also get a little bit stark and get a little bit scary sometimes. And even though the corridor at the bottom is a little bit traditional, it's got safety and good lighting on its side. In the lodging guest rooms, when we want to promote restfulness and sleep, we've got to have low sound transmission between the rooms. So we look at our STC rating, our sound transmission coefficient. And the one on the lower right is an STC of 63, and it has 2 layers of chipboard on both sides, but most importantly, it has a large airspace between the 2 walls. The space and the furnishings in a hotel room help create territories for the user. This is regarding, say, dressing versus sleeping versus working spaces. We're going to look at a couple of different variations on accessible bedrooms. We have a king and then we have 2 queens in here. Both of them share some aspects, which is the turning radius in the bathroom and a few other parameters that I'll list on the next page. But when they talk about the vanity countertop space, what they're saying is that it needs to be similar to a vanity that is given in a non-ADA compliant suite. So here's our key accessibility items. The 60-inch turning radius, the toilet clearance is 60 inches wide by 56 inches deep, space in front of the shower or the tub, the same footprint as the fixtures, space at the lavatory, grab bars, and the comparable vanity. And then in the bedroom itself, it must have a T-shaped turning space at minimum, clearances at all the doors, and then on each side of the bed or between the beds, we need this 30 by 48 inch wheelchair space. And because someone may need to wait in their room as an area of refuge, we need an operable window. We're seeing today's trends towards multi-purpose guest rooms where there may be a partition separating the functions of the space, such as an office space or seating space inside the bedroom. In our food and beverage establishments, there's a few critical dimensions. 24 inches is still our seating width, 30 inches is still our table depth, and then we have circulation zone behind every table of at least 36 inches. When our spaces are too crowded, it really can be a miserable experience for everyone. Dear crowded restaurants, thanks for being noisy enough that I could yell without feeling awkward. So it makes an unpleasant environment and makes people want to leave the space very quickly. So you can look at these dimensions a little bit further in the book. The spaces between the tables. Sometimes turning the tables 45 degree helps get us a little bit easier clearance. Let's look at how furniture layout and surface material affect acoustics. In the example on the left, we have a banquette along the back wall, or on the side wall and then we have big open dining spaces, versus the one on the right where the booths are facing each other and they're very quiet. And the one on the right is going to give you better acoustical privacy than the one on the left. The restaurant on the left is going to tend to get very noisy. Everybody is speaking in the same direction, and they're crossing directions, if you would. And that goes under environmental considerations. So while there may be noise levels in the background, and we have to understand that the staff may be in this environment for 7 hours at a very high noise level, we also need to know that sound includes music, and that can create an atmosphere. And people do like to be at a restaurant that has music. On the indoor air quality side, we're going to control odors. And because the surfaces need to be routinely cleaned, we may be subjecting our customers and our staff to a lot of chemicals for this cleaning. And then in ergonomics, we're concerned with walking distances for the staff, reach ranges, and running into things or obstructions that are in their way. When we talk about navigating hospitality environments, we might think about the visually impaired. So we're going to have good contrast between the table and the seat and the floor. We also want to have some good lighting. We want an accessible route, to consider a safe exiting plan, and have some major aisles that are 44 inches wide. The public does expect protection. It expects a safe space. We may include surveillance cameras in our projects, and it may be up to the designer to place them discreetly. So consider all these aspects when you're designing both lodging and food and beverage locations. Thank you.